Good morning. Welcome back to Yeshivat Shalom Bait, where we encourage the wives or women to send their husbands to Yeshiva, and Bezos Hashem, they'll have constant Shalom Bait in their house. Now we're holding back in Shulchan Aruch. Today is the 19th of Kislev, which is Tuesday before Parashat Vayeshev. We're holding back at Siman Mem Gimel. Din Ech Leitnaheg Batfilin Beitkanso Lebet HaKiseh Ubo Tet Seifim. So the question is, you want to go to a restroom. In olden days, especially at the time of maybe a generation before Maran, most people were wearing tefillin constantly. So you want to go to the restroom, what you do during the day? Now there's going to be 9 halachot involving that. Asur likanes lebet hakiseh kavua lehashtin batfilin sheberosho. So the rule is, what is tefillin? What is bet hakiseh kavua? What bet hakiseh lo kavua? We'll see in a second. So the rabbi says that what does kavua mean? Like this: that in the olden days they didn't have what we have today. Not even when I was growing up, we had a hole in the house. We had a house outside. We had to go like a little hut. There was a house. Okay, there was a hole. Now, Baruch Hashem, we have restroom, we have toilets, and all those things. But in olden days, what they actually had they had towns, and outside of the town they had a field, and that was the field for everybody to go to relieve themselves. That was a specific area that everybody relieved. It's called makom hashpa'ah. Okay, that means number 2 was really their number 1. That was supposed to be makom kavua. So there is a difference between makom kavua, and then there is makom not kavua, which is temporary. So what happens is, the rabbi says here, you cannot go, even if you want to make number 1 with tefillin, to makom kavua. That's the rules, right? The hashtin b'tefillin b'rosh brosho. Zera shema yaseh bahem tzrachav. Okay, we're afraid that in the middle, when he goes to the bathroom, misery loves company. You know that sentence? Misery loves company, and everybody's yawning. What do? You yawn. Everything everything that surrounds you, you do. That's what it is. So you walk in there, you see all the number 2. What happens is it actually has ripple effect. The person wants to go now. A ripple effect. So we're afraid. He's going to go in there with the tefillin, even though he wants to do number 1 only. Still, even for number 1 he cannot do now, because if you wear tefillin and number 2 is going to come out, he's not going to put on the tefillin now. He's going to just make his number 2 with tefillin on, which is a problem. However, if you take off the tefillin from your head and you hold it in your hands, mutar lashtin bahem bebet hakiseh kavua. He is allowed to go, as long as he is going there, not for number 2, he's going for number 1, because number 1 does not require your hands, right? As much as number 2 would require. So there, that's right. So therefore, that will be Haga, the Hainu Davka Shemashtin Miyushav. The Leika Lemechesh Linitzot Sod. Aval Mashtin Mehumat, Shita Dasur, the Loadiv Bibet HaKiseh Harai. So what happened was like this. However, this is talking about when a person is going to be sitting position. Sitting position, right? Then in the sitting position, there is no spritzing around. If there's no spritzing around, then he could hold the tefillin in his hands, because he's not afraid that he's going to have to clean himself out with the tefillin while he's cleaning, what's his name? Let's say if he spritz on his pants, he wants to clean out his pants, right? Or his shoes, whatever it is. So that's only when he's sitting. Okay? But however, if it's standing, even if the toilet is not kavua, the place is not kavua, just let's say a person wants to relieve himself around the block. You see those buildings, sometimes people, he has an emergency, can't get into the building. It says over there, no lavatory, nobody's allowed to go in. But he has to go. It's a big office building. So what does he do? He goes behind the building and he releases number 1. That's called arai, temporary. Right now, this is not a place where everybody goes. He's relieving himself, and Halacha is actually obligating him to do that. In New York City, it's a $50 fine. In the Torah, it's
$500 fine.
It's $500 now?
Now it's $500.
To make number 1? Since when?
In public?
Since
if
when?
They catch you
$50.
Outside. No?
I remember the judge. I was standing in front of the judge. I got a ticket from police for something. So I came in front of the judge over there. And the whole line is, I'm sitting there by myself. He's like, all right, gentlemen, you know the rules. It's 25 in, 50 out. If they catch you drinking a beer in the street, it's a $25 knas. And if you're $50 out, meaning if you as a Jewish judge, he dismissed my case.
Cheap. No more cheap. It's not cheap anymore.
Yeah.
Don't get caught.
$300 fine. Wow.
500.
500.
It's crazy.
Wait, so review. So basically, you use the restroom, you have your shelyan on, you take off shel rosh,
Shel Rosh, and that's
and
only
you sit down.
if you sit down. Number one,
and that's fine. There's no
not normal bathroom, not everybody's usage. This behind the building scenario.
Temporary.
Yeah, if it's a temporary place, meaning one time, it's not normal. Behind the building, nobody goes behind the building. But he went.
Yeah.
If in that case, just you take off tefillin shel rosh, right? And you hold it in your hand, you could do.
Okay.
Yeah. But not, as long as you're standing.
Yeah.
If you're standing, you cannot have tefillin in your hands.
Can I have your tefillin in your hand?
No. Okay. Alright. והוא הדין אם משתין מיושב או בעפר. So same thing. What about if he's standing and he's using behind the building? There's dust all over. Not a problem. תלכוה דליקה ניצוצות, because over there the dust swallows every sprinkle. There's no problem. בבית הכיסא ארעי נמי שי. Okay. ואין חילוק בין קבע לארעי לעניין זה. אלא דבית הכיסא קבוע מסתמה עושה צרכיו מיושב ובית הכיסא ארעי מסתמה עושה מעומד הואיל ואינו נפנה לגדולים. So the only difference the rabbi explains over there, the Haga, is that when you use even if you use the regular restroom area, as long as you're sitting, right? As long as you're sitting, there should be no spritzing. But what's his name? But a temporary bathroom, so again, the condition is it has to be that something that's not going to make mess, and now he has to, he has to fill in his hands. Okay, Zain. No Zain. What is this? What is this? It's
continue
Mishnah.
about.
Okay. ובבית הכיסא ארעי בוטל להשתין בהם כשהם בראשו. You're allowed to go into temporary usage of a restroom, according to Maran, even your tefillin roshes are still on. Meaning, again, you have an emergency, you're behind the building, you just go there, open yourself up, let it go out, and finish. אבל אם הוא חזן בידו אסור להשתין בהם מעומד, אפילו אם תופס אותם בבגדו. The rabbi says you're not allowed to, even if the tefillin's in your hands, even if you're holding them with your feet or your clothing, still, and you're standing, as long as you're standing, you're not allowed to do. You're not allowed to relieve yourself. מפני שצריך לשפשף בידו ניצוצות שברגליו. Why? Because what happens is, the rabbi says there's a problem. The sprinkles come on your legs, and you wanna clean it out. That's going to be with your hand, and that the tefillin will be exposed, will get all drop. אלא חולצן בריחוק 4 אמות ונותנם לחברו. So the best thing is to within 4 amot of where you want to make your whatever, take it off and give it to your friend. ומדברי הרמב"ם נראה שאסור להשתין כשהם בראשו. According to Rambam, however, he says, even as long as they're in your head, you're not allowed to go for number 1. בין בבית הכיסא קבוע, בין בבית הכיסא רעי. Alright, doesn't matter where you are, which restroom, even if there is no restroom, you're just doing it behind the building, as long as you're, according to Rambam, if you have the tefillin on your head, you're not allowed to do that. ויש לחוש לדבריו. And however, you should be careful with the words of Rambam. הלכה ב' בית הכיסא קבוע, היינו שיש בו הוצאה והוא על פני השדה. So what happens? You have a regular bathroom where number 2 is all over the place. This is the area in the field that people use. Below hafira, without covering. He explains. That's what Kabua is. Gimel. Beit HaKeseh Arai. So now he explains what is a temporary restroom. Haynu kegon le'ashtin ma'im she'en adam leholech b'shvilam lebeit HaKeseh. Right? People want to relieve number 1. He said, according to Maran, it's not like a normal thing. You have to go to the end of town to relieve yourself. Number 1. Number 2, it's understandable. You travel because you don't. That's too much mess. But number 1, you clean yourself, let it out and finish. Around the corner, whatever, behind the building, whatever it is. בפעם הזאת נעשה המקום הזה בית הכיסא תחילה. So he says, what happened is now this person is or they just designated this area, this structure or whatever this field, and now he's going there first time. That's also still called temporary because it's not being used yet. ד' אם הם בחיקו וחגור הגורה או בבגדו בידו מותר. However, if somebody has tefillin on his shoulder or within a belt of remember in olden days they didn't have belt like us. They had belt like a Kohanim used to have a belt, right? So what did he do? He takes the tefillin and he stucks it inside the hagora. Remember they had the belt like this. The belt used to cover the whole body, half of the stomach, and it was a cloth, so they used to stuff it inside stuff.
Yeah.
It's like a wallet in today's day. Not a belt today's days.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a big belt.
That mutar. Ben le'ashtin, ben lefanot. Over there, if you put it in there, it doesn't matter. Number one, number two, it's already put away. Hey, im rotzeh likanes lebet hakiseh kavua la'asot rachav. A person wants to go into the restroom. That is a rest area. That's why they call it rest area. Yeah? Restroom, rest area. That was the usual, the old days. Right? So he wants to go in such a place. To clean himself up. Cholzan berichuk arba amod. So then he has to take off his tefillin also arba amod beforehand. ויש אומרים אפילו בלא צרכיו. וטוב להחמיר. And some say even if he wants to go to a restroom without doing anything, still take off your tefillin. Like over here, there's a problem. You see that thing over there? They have a storage behind this bathroom. There is no storage. There is no other door to get to the storage and let him go through here. I want a coffee cup. There's no coffee cups here. Right? I want to drink coffee. I want to go to this bathroom. Can I do it or not? Sounds like not with tefillin. Right? You cannot go to the storage over there because you have tefillin on. Okay? So then we go to land ברצועות שלהן ואוחזן במינו ובבגדו כנגד ליבו. So again, same thing. So the person should take off the tefillin, roll up the ritzuot around it, so to make it like a double, like a closing it out, not to be exposed, and then you put it inside your clothes and against the heart. ויזהר שלא תהיה רצועה יוצאת מתחת ידו טפח. A person should be careful that the leather should not be hanging more than 4 inches out of his hand. כשיוצא מרחיק 4 אמות ומניחן. Then when you go out of the restroom, again, you wash your hands, go for distance of 4 amot, and then you could put them on.
And this is revealing just rolling up the Shef Rosh and then but still leaving Yad on, right?
Sounds like Rosh.
Yeah.
The whole big Mishka Bubble. It's covered anyway. Yeah. Now, just to address Reb's concern with the restroom over here, right? So he says over here like this: we go 4 amot away from a field. Remember those days, they had fields in the restroom. Yeah. Today you have a door. It's a separate room. Once it's a separate room and a door, it's its own entity. There is no, you have to distance yourself, nothing. You could literally, that's why they have Sforim next to bathrooms many times. People get upset. They say, why should they have upset? It's perfectly fine. You have a door that separates the restroom. There's no tubo coming out of the door. There's no, it's not like a Beit HaKvar, Beit HaChaim. So he talks about Marchikim Amor Amod, what he's talking about, putting 4 amot away from the restroom, because in those days the restroom was all exposed. It was a field. So that was a problem. Vav. היה לבוש בתפילין וחוצרח לבית הכיסא בלילה. A person is wearing tefillin at night and he wants to go to the bathroom at night. או סמוך לחשיכה, or it's close to night, meaning it's before nightfall. שאין שכות להניחם עוד אחר שיצא. So the person will take off the tefillin. There is no time to put it back on after he finishes the deeds and needs in his restroom. לא ייכנס בהם גדולים בבגדו. However, he should still take it off and never go to the bathroom for any reason. Roll it up into his clothes. אפילו להשתין מים בבית הכיסא קבוע. Even if he goes to number 1 in the area of the regular restroom area. אלא כיצד יעשה? So it's the same thing. חולצן ומניחן בכלי אם היה בו טפח. So then he also takes them off and puts them into a kli like we have. This is all called a kli. This kli is material, which is more than tefach, right? The tefach is all bikli she'eino kiliyan, or anything that has not its usual usage. Even if it doesn't have more than 4 inches of room inside. Then let's say here, right? So Rambam says you put this inside the bag, you will go in. But let's say if you have a shopping bag, which is not tefillin's bag, you could put it in a shopping bag also, it'll go inside, not a problem. Zayin, במה דברים אמורים? בבית הכיסא שבשדה. This is all we're talking about where it's talking about a field, the restrooms. What about the homes that you have the restrooms inside the house? However, in our days, you have tables all over. You have a house. If you're in the house, take it off and put it somewhere on any table, and no problem. If nobody's stealing it, the whole problem, one of the problems that we had over there in the field, somebody will field, animals will take it. There was a case of harlots will take it away. There were such cases. The harlot would come and she would take it, and then she would come to Mes Midrash and says, "You see what this guy did? He paid me with his tefillin." It was she would say, "He didn't have money. He paid me with his tefillin." See this Rasha? They were very spiritual. So the Torah says, the Rabbanim said, no. That's why they took it into the bathroom. They didn't want Chilul Hashem to come out of it, or they didn't want mice to eat it. Obviously. So therefore, but today you don't have that problem. Baruch Hashem, I hope you're not in that area. In that area where there's a chas v'shalom such a behavior of women. So now, what happens if the person is already doing the number two? He didn't have time to take it off. He forgot that he has it on. He's doing number two in the middle. What he do? He has to cover the tefillin until he completes the first drop. Okay? Because that's very dangerous to return that drop. If that drop returns, it actually causes health issues. People become yarkon, they become greenish color feeling. If you see people have a greenish color in their face, you have to know that they have that sickness, that they hold themselves back. Number two, you're not allowed to hold back number two. So same thing over there. He says as soon as he lets out the first splash, whatever, the first come out, then he should go out, take off the tefillin, then go back in and finish what he needs to do. tet mutar lerofeh lekach avit shel mei raglayim biyado utfilin b'rosho u'ba'al nefesh yachmir la'atzmo. However, you have in what's his name, in the hospitals they have this plastic that the number one is made into. So what happens to Rofeh? He's wearing tefillin. He's healing the patient. Can he take it or not? He says, no problem. He's allowed to carry that picture. However, if he is a God-fearing person, he should not behave in such a way. He should take off the tefillin and take care of the patient if he needs to. Let's do one more halacha. Mem Dalet. Isur shena betefillin ubo seif echad. It is completely forbidden to sleep in the tefillin. Kol zman shatefillin berosho. A person has a tefillin on his head, or bezro'o, or on his hand. Asur lishon bahem. A person is strictly prohibited from sleeping with them. Afilu shnat arai, even a temporary sleep. Elaim hiniach alehem sudar velo hayta imo isha. But if he places on it a cloth over the tefillin shel rosh, and the wife is not with him, okay, yashed bahem shnat arai. You're allowed to put sleep for a while. The case that who will say, how does he do? Maniach rosho ben birkav, hu yoshev yashen. How do you put? How does a person put his head between his knees? I don't know. Ayu tefillin berukir. Anybody? Ayu tefillin kruchin biyado. Mutar lishon b'hem afilu shnat keva. Like you said, it was in his hand. He doesn't have, not a problem. It's all talking about the head. ואם הוא חזן בידו ואינם כרוכים בידו, אסור לישון בהם אפילו שנת ארעי. A person who's holding tefillin in his hands, he's not allowed to fall asleep with them even for a temporary, for a second. Why? He's going to drop them, right? אגב, ודווקא כשהחזן בלא נתקן, עבר בנתקן, בכל עניין השאר. This is all talking about if he's holding it without a bag, but he has a bag where it's in his hand, it's not a problem. The whole problem is when there is no bag, and we're afraid that there's going to come to bizayon, he's going to come to be mizalzel, they're not going to honor the tefillin properly. All right, gentlemen, let's thank Hashem, thank the ladies for giving us the opportunity to go learn in the Midrash with ease, and have a wonderful day.